Welcome to our few moments together on the Parsha. This Shabbos, Erev Shavuos, we have the privilege of reading Parshas Bamidbar, the first Parsha in Quench Bamidbar, the fourth of the Chamisha Chumshei Torah. Every time Shavuos comes out, the Shabbos right before Shavuos, sometimes like this year it's the day before, other times it's somewhat of a few days before, but always before the receiving of the Torah and the Yom Tov that celebrates it, Chag HaShavuos, Zeman Matan Torah Seinu, we always read Parshas Bamidbar. One of the reasons that is given by our rabbis for the reading of Parshas Bamidbar right before Shavuos, as Ezra himself set it up, is so that we recognize that in order to fulfill Kabbalas HaTorah, as our Chazal tell us, Horotze Lizkos L'Kabbalas HaTorah, if someone wants to be merited to receive the Torah, Yasa Atzmo Kamidbar, let him or she make herself like a midbar. Now, what did the rabbis mean when they said, make oneself like a midbar? Well, there are a number of explanations. First, a midbar is a desert, and in a desert, one must drink. Water is the elixir of life that gives life to one in the desert. Without it, we perish. We can't survive the midbar. And if we make ourselves like a midbar, we'll recognize that in order for us to survive in this world, we need to drink. And the drink we need is the Mayim Chayim Shel Torah, the living waters of the Torah. As our Navi said, Hoi kol tzomei l'chula mayim, all you thirsty ones, all you people who seek a sense of importance and meaning in life. You're not going to find it in any other drink. You won't find it in a soda drink that's put together by another society, or in a coffee, or in a tea. There won't be any other drink that will quench your thirst, even though they may purport to be thirst quenching. Only water can truly quench your thirst. Hay kol tzomei l'chula mayim. No other philosophy, no other knowledge, no other discipline, no teaching, no culture in any way, shape, or form is going to quench the thirst of a human being's desire to connect with that which is eternal and meaningful, except for Torah. And so we're like a midbar, so that we can make ourselves needing of drink, and we can drink from the waters of the Torah. In addition, a wilderness is fraught with danger. Survival in the wilderness is not just dependent upon one's physical prowess, but it's dependent upon divine guidance to be able to survive the terrible onslaught of all the demons that attack us in the midbar. And in life too. There are many things in life that are difficult and hard to deal with. And we need to overcome those difficulties. And in order to do that, we become like a midbar and reach out to the one who helps us survive. We reach out to Hashem and His Torah. That's a guideline. It's a guide with which we can survive all the difficulties of being in the wilderness. So we make ourselves like a midbar, and then we get the Torah, and we have a guide with which to survive. And finally, when we're in the midbar, all the physical accoutrements of life, all the externals, they don't really count. Survival in the midbar requires fortitude. In the midbar, the only thing that really matters is that one is capable of recognizing that it's not the physical things in life that matter, but it's the spiritual. It's the idea that we can strip away all the physical things and make ourselves like a desert, which has no physical properties. The desert is devoid of anything physical. There's no growth, there's no vegetation, no trees. And if we make ourselves like that, getting rid of all the physical desires, all the externals that don't really help us, that get in the way of our spiritual achievements, then we'll be able to have a Kabbalas HaTorah by stripping away all those physical desires and wants and needs that we don't really ultimately need, but we crave. Well, when we crave the spiritual aspects and we plug into those, that's what helps us survive. Rav Shlomo Yosef Zevin, however, tells us another thought. You know, Chag HaShavuos is called Chag HaBikurim, the festival of the first fruits. And so he says, if one makes oneself like a midbar, gets rid of all the physical things that get in the way of absorbing the Torah, you might think the Torah is suggesting that we pay no attention to the pleasures of this world. On the contrary, it's when we plug in to the spiritual world of the midbar of the Torah, when we go to drink the waters of the Torah in the desert, an amazing thing happens. We celebrate Chag HaBikurim. We make the world blossom with fruits. We're zochet to receive the Torah, and we're worthy of enjoying those physical fruits. Contrary to what people might think, that if one pursues the spiritual aspects of life, you're giving up on the physical. Oh no! By pursuing the spiritual aspects of life, one in turn acquires Bikurim, the first fruits. Hashem gives us the ability to receive the Torah and the first fruits that come along with it. So, Parshas Bamidbar gives us that insight. We drink from the waters. We rely on Hashem. We strip away all the physical, and we don't do away with it. On the contrary, by the study of Torah, we recognize how the Bikurim are given to us. The first fruits, the delicious first fruits, come to us by virtue of the spiritual enjoyment that we have from connecting with Hashem and His Torah. This Shabbos, we have that opportunity to make ourselves like a midbar. Have a wonderful Shabbos, have a wonderful midbar, and have a wonderful first fruits that come from making ourselves like a midbar as we're zocha to Kabbalah's HaTorah.